Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am Paula Hughes. I have the honor and privilege of being the chair of the State Board of Trustees for Ivy Tech this year. And it has been a momentous year for Ivy Tech, that is for certain. We have had just a really good run, and we are here today because we've been working on transition for our president. And I want to start with some thank yous. And chief among those is Michael Dora, who's sitting over here in this first chair. He is vice chair of our board, and he was chair of our search committee in the process of finding a new president, and just did a tremendous job. Michael has a strength and wisdom and attention to detail that has served the college extremely well. He was joined with an additional 6 members on the search committee. They put in countless hours in this process, and I'm deeply grateful to that service. I also want to thank, and I don't think Tom could join us today, Tom Snyder is our current president of Ivy Tech and has taken Ivy Tech to the level that we're at right now. And Tom has always been such a gracious man and such a strong leader. He has set us up for success. It's an exciting time to be a part of Ivy Tech, so we owe a debt of gratitude to Tom for his service and his leadership over the past years. And so here we are, right? We've had this long process. We started last September when Tom announced that he was going to be stepping down as president of the college. In October, the State Board of Trustees conducted a listening tour across the state. We went to 6 different campuses and listened to what everybody connected to Ivy Tech, and there are a lot of people in this state that have ownership of what's happening in Ivy Tech, so that was a big process. We did an online survey that had over 800 respondents talking about what they thought was important about Ivy Tech. We did all of that in October, wrapped it up in November. In December, we hired a professional search firm. We also assembled a 14-member advisory council with a representative from each of the 14 regions across the state. Those individuals helped us compile a leadership profile talking about what we thought was important, what are the right characteristics for that next president of the College of Ivy Tech. From there, we had the board endorse that leadership profile. They voted and approved it. The core search committee did include 4 state board committee members, but not the full board. We wanted this to be a more inclusive process. We wanted to hear voices from across the state. Ultimately, it is the State Board of Trustees that has voted and approved on the president, and that's maybe the biggest role of the state board. We felt that was very important, but that board was convinced that they wanted to hear voices from all across the state and not just be the ones making the decision. From there, we interviewed 9 different candidates from a pool of over 100 that were interested, narrowed it down to a top 3 final candidates, and the quality and character of those 3 candidates made it a very difficult decision. We had lengthy deliberations, a lot of conversations, and really we're pleased that we had such great choices to choose between. But here we are with the result of that. I want to introduce to you Dr. Sue Ellspermann. She has accepted our offer to enter a contract to be the next president of Ivy Tech. And I'm delighted because Sue brings that right mix of characteristics and the right skills and experience. She's got experience in higher education. She's got experience in the political arena. She's got experience in the private sector. And it all comes together in that right mix, along with Sue's innate skill for thinking strategically. She sees the big picture, and she also sees how to make the connections to make it happen. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Sue Ellspermann.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paula Hughes. You are doing a fabulous job, capable and tireless leader for the Ivy Tech Board of Trustees. Thank you very much for that. And certainly to the Board of Trustees that have joined us today, thank you so much for your faith in me and for the job you do. And, you know, your commitment to this institution has been so apparent throughout the process as you were so careful to make sure that it was the right selection for the college. And a special thank you, as Paula pointed out Michael Dora, I want to point out Michael Dora too. Michael, in my first conversation with you, you said, we have a process set out that we will follow. And you absolutely followed that process. And of course, my background's industrial engineering. I have a lot of value in process and agreed that that would be the right thing to do. And absolutely did Ivy Tech, under your leadership, really explore all of the universe of candidates in that national search. And it's really because of that that I am particularly humble about being chosen today, because I know of the quality of candidates that were in this pool. So before I say more, I also want to thank the current president, President Tom Snyder, for his leadership and vision of Ivy Tech Community College. He took the reins from another great leader, President Gerald Lampkins, and between the two of them, they really did build the largest state-accredited community college in the nation, and very well respected across the nation. And so I had that opportunity to work with Tom as well over the years as I was vice chair of the Indiana Career Council, and I saw the full engagement that he brought to the process. And so it's with much thanks and appreciation for what's been done before my time. You all know that Ivy Tech Community College is Indiana's most important workforce development engine. It truly is, serving 170,000 Hoosiers a year, granting more than 20,000 degrees and certificates. And that sounds like a lot, but you know what? It's not even close to the challenge that is before us. You know, the Indiana Career Council was drafted by the Indiana General Assembly to really look strategically at how we align education and workforce, and it was my privilege to be the vice chair. We brought together K-12, higher education, workforce development, and industry to really look at what the strategic direction for the state should be. And with that, we set a goal that in Indiana we would have 60% of our Hoosier workforce having post-secondary degrees or certificates by 2025. Now, you have to think about where are we today. Today we're at about 42% of people that have some sort of post-secondary education. But we know that 65% of jobs, new jobs, will require a post-secondary degree or certification. And so that translates into almost a 1 million job gap in this workforce. And so we also know that a majority of those jobs will fall in what's called the sub-baccalaureate space. That's really our space here at Ivy Tech. It is the associate degrees and certificates. And so we have a lot of work to do if we're going to meet the needs here in Indiana. And I think it's fair to say for everyone in the room, and I see many Ivy Tech friends, faculty, employees here, we are not satisfied with the full-time student completions where 1 in 4 full-time student will graduate in 6 years and 1 in 20 in the 2 years allotted for associate's degrees. We may not reach 100%, but we cannot rest until most of our students are reaching that completion on their time, on their expected timeline. President Snyder and team have implemented some excellent programs to this point, including the co-requisites, the math pathways, the ASAP program. All of those are making really step function improvement in our student completions. But with all those Herculean efforts, there's still much more that we need to do. And we have an even more important challenge before us, and that has to do with workforce alignment. You know, aligning our degrees and certificates to the needs of our employers. In Indiana, we have added, over the last 3.5 years, nearly 140,000 jobs across the state. And you can credit the great business climate we have here as well as our tremendous Hoosier workforce. However, employers are struggling to find qualified, skilled employees for these jobs. You know, as Lieutenant Governor, I had the opportunity to travel all 92 counties, and I can't remember a single one where an employer didn't tell me just how much they needed these skilled workers. And they're in all kinds of areas, from CDL drivers to industrial maintenance to IT to healthcare. And that list goes on. And as I say those, know that many of those are very high-wage jobs that we're holding back a Hoosier from being able to have. So today, we can measure today how full our classrooms are, but we don't know if that's aligned to the real needs of our employers. Which programs should be expanded, which ones should be shrunk, and in which regions do we need these programs? So the General Assembly tasked our Department of Workforce Development to create a way to measure that, or forecast, if you will, that demand. And as that comes out, that will help our Ivy Tech and all of our post-secondary institutions to really understand 800 job titles and what the specific demand is for those, so that we can align behind those and we can vet that with our regional works councils to be able to accurately right-size both our programs and our facilities and confidently recruit students where we need them in those high-wage, high-demand jobs. So you can probably tell that I'm a little excited and chomping at the bit to get started in leading this Ivy Tech team. I am, because I've really had the pleasure to meet many of you already over these years, very qualified and committed chancellors, and we have some of those with us today. I thank you. And campus presidents and faculty and staff, all committed. As I've had that opportunity, and you think about where I've been, I've gotten to travel to Warsaw to see the Orthopedic and Advanced Manufacturing Training Center at our Ivy Tech campus there, or in Bloomington with the Bill and Gail Cook Center for Entrepreneurship. All of those campuses reflect their local needs, and at the same time bring together throughout our campus system, we have a great synergy that happens for the state. Many years ago, I consulted in Southwest Indiana with another great chancellor, Dr. Dan Schenk, and it was really there that I got to see that commitment that they held for their students, for their employers, for the community, and a relentless striving for excellence. And you know what? That's not so easy when you have more part-time faculty than you have full-time faculty. And I don't say that because I think anything less of our part-time faculty, because I was an adjunct once too. I know what that means. But that said, with all the experience those adjuncts can bring into the classroom, you still have a lot of stress on a system where there's a whole lot of need for more advising and more student support. So bringing that excellence is quite a challenge. But I know I'm joining a team of superstars, faculty and staff, who have their heads in the game, and together we will figure out how to play that game even better, always focused on student success and workforce alignment. And so now, I know that this is being recorded, and in some places we will be playing this back to share on our campuses. So right now, I'm going to speak to the faculty and staff. I want to tell them I am so excited to be back in higher education. And I have so much to learn about Ivy Tech right here in what happens in the inside. And in fact, I'm going to be spending the most of the month of June doing exactly that, on the campuses, with the chancellors, with our trustees, meeting many of you. And I hope that you will be very open with me about your thoughts, your ideas, and where you'd like this institution to go. Then in July, I look forward to taking the reins up and really working alongside you, the Ivy Tech team, to develop new approaches and refine strategies about how do we move forward to meet this tremendous demand that ensures student success and the workforce needs of employers are met. As one who's spent most of my career facilitating teams, I am confident that we have the talent, and my job is to encourage, to empower, to champion, and then to blow barriers out of the way so that we can all achieve the success that our students and our employers need. So today, we will take Ivy Tech Community College to even greater heights together. Indiana is counting on us. Thank you.